My name is Joyce Wheeler. I am a professional organizer. I am the owner of Tri-Parish Decluttering Services. I have a decluttering and organizing tips and tricks on Facebook. That is a huge group. You can find me also at my profile page on Facebook, Joyce Holden Wheeler, or on LinkedIn under Joyce Wheeler.
All right.
So,
Go ahead. Go
uh,
ahead.
so I was going to say, let's say I forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay. I
Um,
deorganize your organized thoughts, so I do apologize for that.
I love that. I'm going to use that.
Absolutely. So, since I mentioned that, I have been told I have OCD because I organize and I clean and I just drive every girl I've ever dated crazy, every family member that still wants to see me crazy. What
Well,
is
I'm
a
sorry.
professional? No, I'm sorry for them. Don't be sorry for me. I'm sorry for them. What is a professional organizer?
Well, I go into people's home and I also do coaching and I help them to identify the type of clutter that they have because there's 5 different types of clutter. So I help them figure out what type of clutter they have. And then we figure out which organizing personality suits them best because everybody organizes differently and people have a hard time keeping organized because they don't know their organizing personality. So that's what I do. Help them declutter, help them organize. And I do not clean. People think that decluttering and organizing means cleaning. I do not clean. You clean. I declutter, I organize.
I want that job. So are you telling me, Joyce, that you tell these people how to clean not only in their homes, but in their lives as well?
I don't tell them how to clean. I tell them how to declutter. So yeah, I could tell them how to declutter in their lives. We need to do that too. Our head's got a bunch of garbage in it that we need to get rid of. Such as our body image. You know, um, and this is the thing too, is that clutter is misunderstood. People think like if you walk into a house, then there's stuff laying all over the place that you could barely walk. They think more of a hoarder home when they think of clutter. But clutter is that box you have in your closet from when you moved that you never unpacked. That's clutter. Clutter is things that are in our home that we are not using and are not serving us during this point in time in our life.
So I'm wondering how that would work for like someone like me, because when it comes to my image, maybe physically and how other people still see me, I could definitely look forward to doing that because I think we all need assistance with that. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. And then you got the people whose house you walk into and it's all nice and clean and tidy and there's nothing laying out. Don't open their closets or their drawers because they have everything hidden inside.
I look at that as like a metaphor. Like how many people who, let's say, for example, since we mentioned like body image, right? Like how many people are packing in things that are like hidden away from the world that's impacting their ability to function in life, right?
Right. And it's the same with body image. So, not only do we have that clutter that we're hiding in our closets and our drawers, but we have clutter that we're hiding within ourselves, hiding from other people. But like I said, we're also hiding it from ourselves because we don't want to deal with it, just like people don't want to deal with clutter. There are certain things, emotions, and feelings that we stifle down and push down because we don't want to deal with them.
I see if I take a look like online, I see so many people online that their struggle is not from decluttering maybe their lives. It's like they're trying to eat their problem. Like that's the perception, right? Like when someone is struggling with their body image, they may say, I'm too skinny, I'm too big, I don't like my butt, I don't like my tits, I don't like my penis size, all these things that really aren't that important. But because we put emphasis and value on it, we
Yeah.
clutter ourselves, to continue the metaphor. Like we maybe will bury that outfit that we really want to fit into, but it just reminds us of how poor we view ourselves. So when I look at, let's for example, if I take you as an example, what is this an area where you struggled with? And if so, what did you do to help yourself?
Well, I felt like at one point, like I had it under control and I was no longer struggling with my body image. And then I came to the realization that I still struggle with my body image. And I think it's hard for like harder for my generation because we grew up at a time where, now you'll see like thicker models, models who have some weight who are curvy. You'll see models like that. Where when I was growing up back in the 70s, it wasn't like that. Everybody was thin and like, there was like this picture perfect image of what a woman was supposed to look like. So it made it hard. And then you feel like if you don't, and the thing was too, was at one point when I was like 16, 17, I put on some weight. And the one thing that used to bother me that people would say to me was, you'd be really pretty if you take off some weight. I was like, what is that? What does that even mean? It's like, but that was one thing people would say to me that like bothered me. It's like my face is my face. It's not going to change. If I take off weight, it might thin out, but it's not going to change. It's still going to be my face. So that was a comment that I would get often that really bothered me. The other thing too was the males. It was like they I was invisible. And then once I took the extra weight off, all of a sudden I'm turning heads. And I'm just like, forget you. I'm still me. I'm the same person that I am on the inside as I was before. I haven't changed any. But now because I took off the weight, you want to talk to me and you want something to do with me? No. Mm-mm.
I th-
Not
I
happening.
think that's yeah, I think that still happens quite a bit today. It's interesting to see when I look back at, let's say, because you're a little bit older than I am, and I do remember a time when I was a child where everyone looked really, really skinny, from the men to the women. The only people who were maybe larger were if they were overweight or obese, or they were like they had the bodybuilder physique, right? They're very muscular. They're like superheroes to a lot of people. I look at when I was struggling with body image issue, I was on the other end. I was really thin. And I think that's probably where there's a difference between men and women. I think women struggle, women are who are bigger are like invisible, whereas men who are very thin are invisible as well. It's like two different spectrums, right? And one thing that I went through is similar to you, where it just seemed like no one was paying any attention to me, even though you had the personality that a lot of people wanted. And I can understand how everyone has a preference, right? But it's interesting
Mhm.
to see how much emphasis we put on the actual body. And you
Right.
made a good point where people they're like shameless with it, right? Like one day it's like, well, Joyce, you're if you lost a lot of weight, if you lost a little bit of weight, you'd be more attractive. And then when you lose the weight, they're there, totally forgetting the conversation that they had maybe a few weeks prior. Like, did that like how did that make you feel knowing that there was men out there who were maybe disrespectful in a way, but as soon as you start to make improvements for yourself, all of a sudden they started to come around?
It made me angry because as I said, I hadn't changed as a person. I was still the same person. Yeah, it made me mad. It was just like I felt like they were assholes. They were just like, you're a jerk, you know. It's like me and my daughter had just had this conversation the other day because she has PCOS, which causes females to have extra weight on them, and she's trying to take that off. But we had this conversation the other day how she experienced the same thing with with the guys as I did. That when she had extra weight on, they didn't want anything to do with her. Oh, you took off the weight. You look so great. Hey, we ought to get together sometime. And she's like, hell no. Just like I was, it's like, no, you know, once again, I'm the same person. I haven't changed on the inside. It's like you said, people tend to look at the outward appearance, and it's like you can't judge a book by its cover. You can't go by what I look like or by what you look like or what anybody looks like. I'll tell you something. I've seen some really beautiful people, but the minute they open their mouth and they start talking, it's like, please be quiet. You're a very ugly person. And I have met some people that were not very attractive and not very pleasant to look at, but they start talking and all of a sudden that goes away. It's like you see their personality and you see how beautiful that person is, you know. So it's like you need to get to know somebody, but looks are great, looks are fine, but it's not everything. I mean, if you're with somebody that who you feel is exceptional and is a 10 in your book, but it has the personality of a dog bone, why are you with them? I don't
Oh,
want to
I
be with
made the
somebody. I don't want to be with somebody who has no personality. If the person I want to be with, they a sense of humor is what matters to me. It's like make me laugh. If you can't make me laugh, goodbye. I'm
I
not
made the
that
yeah.
bad.
No,
I'm
you
not.
you have to be that bad because I remember I made a joke where that beauty will get you to my car, but it may not get you to my house,
Oh,
right? Because it's easy to go on a first date because let's say if we're in the dating culture today, right? Where it's very superficial. Swipe left, swipe right. It's mostly physical. So it'll get you to the car, may get you to the Starbucks down the street. We'll have a first date, right? But to actually get to my house, you're gonna need the personality because that's the type of person that you want to bring home. They're bringing you're bringing them to your area of peace because this is someone that you see
right.
something with. There's always saying that beauty fades and stupid is forever, but I always find that to be a little harsh. So that's why I always say that it'll get you to the car, but it won't necessarily get you to your door. Because when I look back at all the women that I've dated, different cultures, different body types. One thing that I do notice is that I haven't really been, now that I'm reflective, I haven't really been with someone who's really, really thin. I've been with someone that has a little bit of meat in them, maybe a little bit bigger, but they're around the typical average build. Like she might be like, let's say, whatever her weight is, right? But the thing that I enjoyed about it is that they were healthy. They lived a healthy life regardless of their size. And I think that's the part we're missing. Whereas some people look at someone and say, she looks like she's 150 pounds. She must be eating cheeseburgers all day. She looks like she's 200 pounds. She must be sitting and eating bonbons like Peggy Bundy all day long. But they could be living a healthy lifestyle. So when you see your daughter going through something similar, like now we're getting generation after generation. What are your
Well,
thoughts on that? It hasn't really changed much since when you were at that age, and now your daughter's
right.
going through it.
Right. Well, one thing is I'm glad you brought up the health issue of it, because just because somebody is thin doesn't mean they're healthy. And just because somebody has extra weight on them does not mean that they're not healthy. And I'm going to give you some examples of that. Like my daughter has problem with her weight because she has PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. So she has a hormone disruption. There was a little boy I knew back in Tennessee when we lived there. He had a part of his brain that was missing that told him he was full. His parents had to put locks on the cabinets in the refrigerator because they said they woke up one morning and he was sitting on the floor eating flour, plain flour, because that part of his brain was missing that told him he was full, that he didn't need to be eaten. I met another woman at the gym one day, and she had told me that she had a problem taking off weight because she was on a medication that made her gain weight. So there's various reasons why people have extra weight on them. And for people to sit and speculate that because a person is built this way or that way, or they have extra weight that they're sitting around eating all the time is a bunch of bull. You need to educate yourself as to why these things happen. What's going on in this person's life. Have some sympathy, some empathy. That's a human being. instead of bashing them because they don't look the way you think they should look. Question, why do they look that way? And realize that it doesn't mean they're sitting around eating all the time, because they're not. And my daughter still has extra weight on her that she's trying to take off. And she's doing Weight Watchers right now. And I guarantee you, she's not sitting around eating.
I think that's like the myth, right? Like anytime they see someone that's a little bit bigger than themselves, they automatically think that they're sitting at home all day with a bag of chips, a dip, and candy. There are some people who do that,
Yes.
right? And there are some people who don't do that. Just like how there's some people who are skinny who do eat, and there's some
Right.
people who are skinny who don't eat.
Right.
I would probably, based on the research that I've done when I looked into it, a lot of people who are underweight and who are overweight, there is some issue there that they're trying to what's the word I'm looking for? They're trying to overcome, or they're maybe trying to substitute it, right? Like we've all heard about people who are eating their trauma, people who
Mhm.
aren't eating their trauma. We've heard about people who were mistreated as a child, or they're teased, or they're bullied because of their body, because of the way it looked. Because everyone remembers their childhood. We all look awkward, right? Our teeth was growing crooked in, and we're growth spurts, and maybe we were taller than most people, we're wider than most people, we're thinner than most people, we're just socially awkward. We all were going through it. And I think if we can get to a place where there's more understanding and
I
saying
agree.
that there's different bodies out there. And one thing you mentioned earlier on, you mentioned that now it's a little bit curvier. I think unfortunately, as we start to view different body types, then we have people that are augmenting. They're going through the surgeries to look a certain way, and that's a whole different issue when
Yeah.
it comes to the body image, right? Because when you see that, you're like, oh, I want to be like that person, not knowing that that person really didn't earn it or didn't work for it. It was
Right.
just implanted, right? Like when you see some of the struggles that the young girls go through, are you reminded of some of the struggles that you went through? And do you see the differences today versus maybe a couple of years ago or back then?
Well, yeah, I do see the differences, because now it's like you're saying, there's things that they can do that can be done surgically, which personally I disagree with. you know I mean, I'm made the way that I'm made, and even though I'm not happy about certain parts of my body, I'm not going to run out and get surgery, because I don't think that that's healthy, and it's not a healthy body image. You're portraying somebody, something else. And as far as the struggles, yeah, the struggles are still there. People still struggle, but I feel like right now, at this point in time, that the girls who have extra weight on them are more, in as far as society goes, they're more accepted. You see them on TV, you see them they're doing commercials. I wanted to talk about something, because you had said you had a problem when you were younger because you were skinny. My niece is like that. She's very skinny. She got made fun of because of her build. She's tall and she's thin, but it's not because she's not eating. That's just the way she was made. But when she was younger, was made fun of because she was too thin. So now it's like, you're too thin, we're going to make fun of you. You're too thick, we're going to make fun of you. It's like, you know to me, those people who do that, they have their own insecurities that they're trying to put up onto me, because you're obviously insecure about something about yourself. So you've got to attack me for it and project your feelings and your emotions onto me.
Yeah, we're in a place where now, instead of celebrating the differences, which is what we should be doing,
Right.
we're picking out the differences. Like we can look at someone, but people watching is like everyone's favorite part-time activity these days, right? So we have people that are looking and trying to find out problems. Like I go to the gym, and I know online there's a lot of videos where people will record other people and make fun of what they're doing. Like that's the type of culture we are. So we have people who I'm assuming because you don't ever see their faces, right? You have people that probably ideally have a decent body or at least a good body, and what they're pointing out other things in people that maybe are different than themselves, right? So it could be their hair color, it could be their weight, it could be their height, it could be the way they look. And I think that's where the difference is because maybe there was a time where it was only people that were overweight. As you mentioned, right now we have people that are, we discuss underweight, overweight. Well, they're taller than the average girl. So, oh my God, what's going on with you? They're skinnier than the average girl.
Mhm.
And I wonder how, like, when I, from a male's perspective, in general, we don't necessarily go through some of those issues. Like, if a man's big, his friends would tell him, but it wouldn't necessarily be blasted all over the internet or in a public forum. Whereas it seems like women have that struggle where they're viewed to be the expectation is that their body should be a certain way, and if they fall out of that, it could
Mhm.
be very isolating for them. Did you feel isolated when you were at a bigger at a heavier weight?
Yeah, I did. I did, and I was very self-conscious of it. So I just wouldn't go out because it's like, it's like nothing, any of my clothes that I put on, it was like, I was just always like, nope, 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 because it just, I couldn't wear what the other girls were wearing because I had extra weight. I mean, I couldn't dress the way that they were dressing because I felt self-conscious. And I love that about our society today because I see women with extra weight dressing and showing skin. And I think that's wonderful. I love the fact that they are so comfortable with who they are and the way they look that they don't care if they're showing some skin. And not all of them do it tastefully, but some of them do. And I think it's awesome. And I want to go up to them and I want to say, I love what you're doing. I think it's great. But I feel like I might be kind of offending them. It's a gray area. You don't want to be offensive. You want to you want to be uplifting to them. And the thing is what you're talking about too, and it's not just the men who make women feel like this, other women make you feel like this too. So it's just like, but no, we need to focus inward instead of looking at the outside because that's not who the person is. This is just a shell. It's just a shell.
It's
Who
like
I
that
am is
movie.
in here.
Yeah, it's like
I'm
that movie
sorry.
Mean Girls. It's like that movie Mean Girls, right? Where you have these cliques. And I've
Yeah.
heard from a lot of women that it's like, I guess from the male perspective, it's probably just, it seems at least, it's the men that when a man is making them feel bad, it's more so like on a romantic level, right? Like he wasn't interested, now they lost weight, he's interested. Where a lot of the women that I work with, they say that their isolation has come from other women,
Yeah. Right.
right? Like it's their peer group because when they want to go out, like you can wear a dress and you can think that is the best dress in the world, right? And if you look good in it, a man will say that, hey, Joyce, you look good in it. Men really don't care about the outfit. We care about how you look in it. Whereas it seems like women can say, okay, ooh, that outfit's from last year. Ooh, that outfit doesn't hug her hips like this. Ooh, makes her look like that, right? It seems to be that women are more critical about the physical aspect when it comes to the social value of it. And maybe because they're conditioned to do so. And maybe it's because they just feel that they're just better off. What are your thoughts?
I think females, for the most part, are just very competitive. They're very catty. It's just like I had a lot of male friends when I was younger because I just couldn't get along with girls. They're, again, there's this competition about your clothes, about, with guys. It's like, I want him. No, I want him. And it's just like, I'm not a game player. I don't want to play this game. I don't like this game. So I had a lot of male friends. Most of my friends were males, And then guys that I would date, when they found out that I had all these male friends, were convinced that they were friends with me because I wanted something more. And I was like, well, that's funny because none of them have hit on me. None of them have asked me to go out. I'm like, so you're wrong. I believe that males and females can be friends without having any alternative motive outside of being friends. But yeah, definitely women are competitive with other women. But also the thing is too, is that if, say, you were out on a date and you were checking out some other female, well, that other female would know that you were checking her out. And even if she was not interested in you, she will act like she's interested in you just to get to the other female. Uh, Females are terrible. I'm sorry, but especially when it comes to each other. And it's like, that's horrible. We should be a sisterhood. We should be bond together by the fact that we're women. And instead we're tearing each other apart and holding each other down. And that's not right.
I'll share a story about that. There was I went out with I was with at the time she was my girlfriend and we were out somewhere and a situation like that happened and there's girls that are walking by and their bodies were different than the person I was with. So what I usually do as a joke just to make at least especially her, make it more comfortable situation. I would always look up at the ceiling and I would point out, like, oh, that's a nice design on the ceiling there, right? Just to make it like a humorous situation because I see your point. There's times where I can be with someone and they'll tell me that, hey, that person was doing this trying to get attention. And it seems like women are more in tune with that type of behavior because guys, we miss everything, right? When it comes to all the clues,
Yeah, you all miss a
right?
whole lot.
Yeah, we're totally oblivious. And when you mention the competition, what do you think is the cause of that? And what exactly are the women competing for in that situation?
Looks, style, competing for a guy. It's just they're just very competitive. So it could be your clothes. I want to dress better than you. It could be your hair. I want to have a better hairstyle than yours. It could be your makeup. And I think that a lot of this kind of behavior also stems from jealousy. I don't think it's just that we want to be competitive. I think well, jealousy and insecurity. You're insecure about something about yourself that I have that you want. So you're going to go ahead and be angry with me or be some sort of way towards me because of your negative emotions about yourself. I had read a book years ago. They're called emotional leeches. So, and what they do is, like, they have issues with themselves, and because they can't do anything about it and they feel bad, they want to make you feel bad. So they do things to make you feel bad about yourself, whatever it is. So I just think that, there's various reasons why females do what they do. You know, I don't know all of them. I've never been catty like that, or I've never been competitive to where, I dress the way I dress because I'm comfortable, because I feel good. You know, Being into decluttering business, one struggle I see a lot with is the clothes. Women not wanting to get rid of clothes. They're keeping like 3 or 4 different sizes because their weight is fluctuating. And I'm just like, I dress the way I dress. I dress for me. I'm not dressing for you. I'm not dressing for the world. I'm not dressing because society says that this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm dressing for me because I'm comfortable. And I want to be comfortable with what I'm wearing. And I remember going out back in the day, and the style that was in at that time was like short skirts, and it was during the Madonna time. So it's basically the short skirts with the crop tops, which basically look like a bra. and I wondered why these girls even bothered getting dressed. It's like you bend over and your butt's sticking out. You bend over the other way and your boobs are falling out. Why bother putting anything on? There's little to imagination. But I just can't see how that is comfortable. How it is comfortable to wear a skirt so tight and so short that you have to be careful every move you make. Am I bending over and showing something? Just why would you want to dress like that? I don't know.
Well,
I
body
mean,
image is something that it's so easy to attack the way someone looks. And I think that's why they hang on to the clothes because they know that they want to be able to fit into it. And you made a good point when it comes to the outfit because the outfit, I think people look at it as I'm using this. This is my uniform of confidence. I'm dressing this way because I want to show you that I'm confident with my body, regardless of how everyone else may take a look at it. Like, I'll give you an example. There's a time where I was in the food court at a mall, and to get to the upper level of the food court, you have to go up 3 flights of stairs. This young lady was wearing a very short skirt to the point where she had to put her hands at, underneath her butt so you wouldn't see what she was showing, right? Because she's going up the stairs. And you look at it and it's like, well, you have a choice. Either you have to do that and hide what it is that you obviously are trying to show, or you can wear longer skirts. But to your point, they don't want to do that. And I think it's because maybe if it goes back to the people who are competitive, it's no different saying that I have this and I don't think anyone else has something that's either as good or close to this. So let me show it off. Goes back to that joke, right? If you have a Ferrari, why are you going to keep it in the garage? You're going to keep it and show it off. Is that right? Do you agree?
yeah, and you're reminding me of another conversation my daughter and I have. My daughter's a truck driver. She drives an 18-wheeler. Well, because she doesn't want to attract a lot of attention to herself I mean, she's in a male dominated industry. So if she goes into a truck stop, see, the thing between me and my daughter, we don't like a lot of attention. We're not, we don't have to have somebody paying attention to us all the time. We don't have to be the center of attention. So she doesn't want to gain any attention by going into a truck stop dressed a certain way. She won't even wear makeup when she goes to work. She wears baggy sweatpants, baggy t-shirts, but she's a girly girl. Now when when she's not working, she'll do her makeup and do her hair and dress nice. But she was telling me about some of these girls that are truck drivers, same industry as she is, and they've got these tight pants on, the leggings, and they're showing this off, and they've got the cleavage hanging out, and they've got their makeup done. It's like, they're obviously doing it to attract men's attention. It's not, because you're in a truck the majority of the time. Why would you dress like that unless you were seeking attention? And then is that really the kind of attention you want? Because with males and the way that they think, that to me, that's negative attention. And that's not a positive attention. And then not only that, but then why are they looking at you? They're looking at what you've got, not what's in here. You're showing them the goods, but they don't see this. So it's just very interesting. And once again, my daughter were like, how can you be comfortable? How can you be comfortable driving a truck when you got these tight leggings on that are sticking up your butt and up your crotch? They're having to sit there and constantly be dragging them out and dragging them out because they keep squishing up and squishing up. How is that comfortable? Why not dress for comfort rather than because you want to show off your body? I mean, once again, if you're comfortable in your skin and that's what you want to do, but I really see no reason for it. I've got this thing where, like, if I do tight on the bottom, I do loose on top. If I do loose on the bottom, I do tight on top. And I've never been one for showing off my cleavage. I've always had a big chest and always have gotten comments. I'm from Chicago, So I would always hear when I was walking down the street, nice tits, nice tits. And I was appalled by it. One time I said to this guy, I said, would you, you know, what would you do if somebody said that to your mother? How about your wife? What about your daughter? You know, it's like this. It's distasteful. It's not classy. I remember one summer walking around with the windbreaker on all summer long, just to hide my chest.
It's
That's
like the price you pay for fashion, like when you mention the girls and their outfit, and then when you mention if you're well endowed in certain areas, it's people feel that they can comment on it, but when you make it very real and say, okay, what if someone would say that to your wife? Many of these men, their answer probably like, oh, I'll fight that person. Well, you have to have the same respect, right? Because every
right.
woman out there is someone's daughter, someone's mother or cousin or aunt. Just like how every man is someone's son, someone's father, someone's brother. And it's interesting to see how some people, their view of their body image in many ways is distorted because they're using it as a tool to get something else instead of using it as a way to live a longer life. So I can give you an example. So for me, I train my body, I go to the gym and I box and I try to eat healthy because I want to live the best life possible for the longest time possible.
Mhm.
I wouldn't go out there and all of a sudden, because I'm lifting heavier weights, I can't find a shirt that fits me. And everywhere I go, I'm shirtless, which a lot of men do when they go to the gym, right? Or you have, as you mentioned, you have the leggings and things like that, and they're so thin and they're so tight that you can visualize everything. So, is your
Yep.
objective, I want to have a good looking body for me and appreciate it? Or is it that I want to have this type of body so I can get as many people appreciated as possible? Because for someone like you who's lost the weight, it's not like you woke up one day and said, okay, I'm going to lose the weight, become as sexy as possible, and have every guy in the world, right? Like, what, like, tell us, talk about us through your state of mind. Like, how did it feel for you to lose the weight, get this attention that maybe some people always had, but you didn't abuse it?
Well, one thing is when I was younger, when I was about 9, I had actually my whole childhood I was pretty much an average weight. And then when I was about 9, I had gained some extra weight. And my brother, who had always been very thin and was actually drinking protein stuff, trying to put on weight, he would oink at me, he would moo at me. And when I would try to work out, he would imitate me and moo and oink, which discouraged me. So then I would stop. But then it was like I was determined for myself because I had kind of taken off the weight, but not totally. And then, as I said earlier, when I was about 17, I gained the extra weight back again. And the thing was, one of the things that got me to start exercising and watching what I was eating was in order to zip up my pants, I had to lay on the bed, pull my pants together while my mom zipped them up. And she said to me, she said, "You need new pants." And I said, "No, I need to lose some weight." And that was kind of like the wake up call for me. It was just like, I need to do something for myself so I can be healthier, I can feel better. Because at that point, you know, one of the reasons I gained the weight was because I was smoking weed. Yeah, truth be told, got the munchies, eating too much. So, but I had noticed a difference when I started working out and I was changing my eating habits. I started noticing a difference. Like before, if I got done, say I was eating a sandwich in the living room and I would put the plate on the end table. When I took off the weight, I felt more like, oh, let's get this plate out of here right now. Instead of sitting there and waiting until I got up to do something else to take it, I would purposely, intentionally get up just to take that plate. So I felt lighter. I felt like I had more energy. I felt better about myself, for myself, because I did it for me. I didn't do it for anybody else. That's obvious. Um, and then the clothes, and you had made mention about the clothes. And because my chest has always been bigger, I had actually thought at one point of getting a chest reduction, because even to this day, I cannot wear a shirt that buttons down because my chest spreads the buttons. So I would have to get a shirt that was bigger, and then it doesn't look right. So that was a problem too. And I had girls jealous of me because of the size of my chest. They did not like me because of the size of my chest. They thought, I had one person tell me, she was my step cousin, and I went over there, and these girls, she was having an issue with these girls, and I had helped her. I was sticking up for her and stuff. And after that, she confessed to me that she didn't want me to come and stay over there because of my chest, because she thought that I was going to go after her boyfriend, and her boyfriend would like me. And I had no interest in her boyfriend, none whatsoever. So these are misconceptions. But, again, I'm going to put it back on society, because this is what society is telling us, that women should be like this and women should be like that. And if you're not like this, there's something wrong with you. No, there's not. And I could have easily used my chest to get all the guys I wanted, but I didn't. It appalled me to be talking to a guy and have them looking at my chest. You remember the Saturday Night skit where the women had the eyeballs on their
Yeah, I
they
remember
were,
that. I do remember that was hilarious.
I can totally relate to that. You know, Luckily, as I have matured, obviously men have matured some, or realize that that is not appropriate to talk to a woman's chest, because I don't deal with it as much as what I used to.
I think part of that is the type of people that you would surround yourself with. Was I'm in my 30s, in my 20s. I do remember a time where it was very much like that, where people were it was very physical, physical, physical. As I got older, I matured quite a bit. I remember there's a specific point in my life where I felt like I grew up by maybe 10 or 20 years. And I stopped being around people that view the world like that, where it's very, okay, she has to have big tits, a big ass, and all this other stuff. And when I started surrounding myself with what I would say better people, but more importantly, I started surrounding myself with people that were in serious relationships and valued family, that type of thinking was no longer around me. So when I see it now, I look at it as kind of awkward and very immature, because to put that kind of emphasis on the body when you know that as you get older, as you want to start your own family and stuff like that, it's more about who the person is and what they can
Right,
contribute to your life, right?
right, exactly. Yeah, and that's the important thing. Like I said earlier, I need for the person that I'm with to have a sense of humor. You know, I like a sense of humor. I love to laugh. Please make me laugh. You know, um, I also like to be with somebody who, this is interesting. I just thought about this. I've been married twice. My first husband passed away in 2004, and now my current husband. But both of them, I had extra weight on me when they met me, and then I had taken off the weight. And it's interesting too, because my first husband, while we were dating, there was one time that I had mentioned my weight, that I had to lose weight. And he said to me, he said, I don't care how fat you get. He said, I'll always love you. Besides, no one else is going to look at you. And I was just like, I want to break up. You know, it was like the first part for you to say, I don't care how big you get, I'm going to always love you, was fine. But the minute he said, besides, no one else will look at you, I was like, well, hell no. It was the fact that he had said it. If you feel that way, keep it to yourself. You don't have to come out and say that. But yeah, it's interesting because both my husbands, I did have extra weight, you know, um, and then had taken the weight back off. I'd pretty much been like that up and down since I was in my late teens to this point right now, to where I've been pretty stable now for 19 years, and I'm not looking to lose any weight. I just want to maintain. I want to stay right where I am. That's all that I want, to be able to fit my clothes. And let's go back to the clothes thing for a few minutes. For women to keep clothes that no longer fit them in the closet, that's torture. Why are you torturing yourselves? Let it go. Those clothes are looking at you, you can't fit in me. Why are you doing that to yourself? Let it go. Stop.
So I want to touch on that where you've made the progress and you're comfortable where you are now. So as we close, Joyce, what advice do you want to give to women out there to get them to the point where they're comfortable with their bodies and they can continue to love themselves just the way they are?
First off, I want to address all women as far as this sisterhood goes. We need to stop shaming each other because of what we look like. We have to accept everybody for who they are. And, secondly, it's like, if you want to be where somebody else is, then you need to put in some work. And I understand that there's issues that some people face that does not allow them to be where they want to be. And that's okay, but we have to be accepting. And the most important thing is that we have to be healthy. It doesn't do you any good to get skinny and be unhealthy, or to let yourself go and overeat and not be healthy. you know and we have to listen to our bodies speak to us. And that was one thing I had learned. When Listen to what your body says. What is your body telling you? How does certain foods make you feel, or certain things make you feel? I think we should be striving more for health than for outer image, because again, this is just a shell. This doesn't matter. One day this is going to all go away anyhow, but what's in here is going to stay there forever. That's what we want to focus on.